Hello, lovely humans, and welcome back to my channel, Thighs the Limit. Today's agenda is weight loss plateaus, how we get there and how the heck we get away from them, as well as if I'm on a weight loss plateau or not. So, what the heck is a weight loss plateau? Pretty much the same old when it comes to diets. You're starting off nice and steady and it's like, oh yeah, the scale's dropping bit by bit. But somewhere along the way, you start to notice that instead of dropping at such a sharp, steep, fabulously speedy rate, it starts to level off a little bit. And sometimes it levels off completely. And for those of you who are kind of like, what the heck is this and why is it happening? There's a few reasons. And it really has to do with whether you're on an actual plateau or not. I will get to that. But in terms of if you are on an actual plateau, what is happening is as you lose weight, you don't need quite as many calories as you needed before to sustain all of your bodily functions. The amount of calories you burn just by existing does count for something. So I'm not just talking about the calories you burn at the gym or about how you might be eating a little bit less food and that's where you're cutting calories. I'm talking about what it takes to just survive. Your organs have to function, everything has to work together properly, your muscles have to be able to hold you up and get you from point A to point B. All of those activities require energy, and you're getting that from your food. Now, as your body gets smaller throughout your weight loss process, your body doesn't actually need the same amount of calories as it did before because there's less of it. So 271-pound me when I first started needed a lot more calories just to exist than the current 216, 218, because still stuck, pound me needs to exist. It's still a matter of calories in, calories out. The only difference is that it's a different amount of calories that is your maintenance weight. So a lot of times people are like, okay, I was doing really well with my weight loss and now I'm stuck. What happened? That, if it's an actual plateau, is what happened. Your body is smaller and did not need as many calories for fuel as it did before, which means that those extra calories are essentially getting turned into fat. There are things you can do to basically balance that out. Some of it means being more active. So if you were not focusing on weightlifting, that might be a good thing to start focusing on, because as you build muscle, that muscle is going to burn more calories just by existing. So a super jacked bodybuilder will likely burn more calories sitting on a couch watching TV than some itty bitty little person who has never gone to the gym or never worked out at home a day in their life. Simply because, oh hi baby, that was very cute. Excuse the little paw. But simply because they have that muscle mass. Now, that's for the people who are on an actual plateau. What's more likely, and what I think is actually happening to me, is that your body didn't necessarily plateau out, because it's not going to be like a gargantuan difference of calories unless you have lost a gargantuan amount of weight. Also, small caveat there, a lot of times what we were eating when we were at that initial weight was probably way many more calories than we needed in the first place, which is why we decided to start losing weight. So, do you want to come up here? Sorry, I have little furry interrupters. No? You're just gonna be nosy? Okay. But, for the rest of us who might not be on a legit plateau, what the heck is going on? We're still not losing weight. It's super frustrating. You're looking at the scale week after week and you're like, dude, I'm working my butt off here. Why is this not moving? And honest to God, this has been me since February. Right around February, that's when I hit my 50-pound weight loss mark and I was like, yeah, I did it. But I'm noticing more and more frustration for me that the scale's just not moving. But I'm realizing what my triggers are, I'm realizing what my little mistakes are, and I'm correcting them bit by bit. So once I've done that, the scale still has not moved. And that is when I realized the thing that I really wanted to talk to you guys about is burnout. Because you might think that you are working your butt off, and It might just seem like here and there you're like, okay, I've been great this week, it's just one little thing. Or, oh my gosh, I'm so tired today, I don't even want to think about making a healthy dinner, so I'm just gonna have this little thing. And it's literally those little things, those add up so fast, especially if they're like the things you crave, because let's face it, most of us are not craving like a salad. If you do, I'm super happy for you, that's awesome, but I'm not that person. It is so easy to basically just over-restrict or just to be overly rigid. Like, I feel like I don't really restrict. To some extent, I eat what I want. I mean, well, sort of. What I want, honestly, is like Pizza Hut and, I don't know, like an entire cake a day. So I can't eat what I want, but I eat meals that sound good, but I try to have healthier versions or at least smaller versions. One of the hardest things for us with weight loss, or at least for me, is feeling like every single meal you have, you can't just enjoy it, because half the time you're like, wait, is this healthy for me? Should I be eating this? Have I already had something like this in my diet? Is this unhealthy for me? Is this healthy? There's so many questions and doubts that basically start circling around in our heads while we're just trying to enjoy a meal, that it starts to take the joy out of it. For a while there, I straight up lost the joy of cooking, and that's something that normally is like my go-to. But I just wasn't feeling it. I was like, great, I have to find another stinking healthy meal to make and try to make it not taste like crap, which that's not insanely difficult. It's just sometimes I don't feel like having to put that much thought into it. But you get mentally fatigued. When you push anything too hard, whether it's too rigid, too restrictive, mentally, you're like, hey, I need a break. I want to have something that I'm in control of. And sometimes that turns out to be that the thing I'm in control of is eating something that's not great for me. But I'm like, I did it because I freaking felt like I wanted to. And I didn't have to pause and be like, should I eat this? I'm like, no, I shouldn't. And I eat it. Obviously, figured that out. So what do? You know, you're like, hey, am I slipping up on my diet a lot? Am I just binging entirely? Like, for me, I started something entirely new, and it's something that I started working on with my therapist, because y'all know I am a huge proponent for mental health. But you guys know, if you've seen any of my past videos, that I've been working a lot in the manner of doing cognitive behavioral therapy. So I'm trying to get my behaviors to clue in with my brain for why I'm doing them, so that I can basically stop doing them if they're unhealthy or find alternate habits. And one little caveat of that is I wanted to see if I was actually on that plateau or not. I was like, am I really just basically fatiguing here and there and eating what I want, or am I actually on a plateau? Because either way, it's frustrating. But if you know why, you can start to look for the tools you need to get back on track. So I started looking at a calendar. Rather than tracking my food every single day, because for me that's way too rigid and it's exhausting. I know it is easier to track the exact calories for weight loss, but I also know that restrictive habits for me lead to binging, and that's something I struggle a lot with, so I don't want to make it worse. What I did instead, I have a calendar that is hanging right by my bathroom. And anytime I have a day where I'm like, hey, I ate good today. Like, I ate healthy. I didn't go off and binge on anything. I didn't, eat something that was like, girl, you shouldn't be doing that. And I don't mean anything crazy. I just mean like I had a normal day of eating that was not like, girl, get your life together. When I do that, I put a sticker on the calendar. And I started tracking over the course of a month, and I was like, okay, have I actually been having lots of good calendar days, or is there a pattern? Is it, weekends I'm going wild? Am I going wild because of something related to school assignments? And it turns out that's exactly what it was, because stress sucks. But once you know what you are doing that is causing that plateau, that is when you can start to really address the core of the matter, so you can try to change your habits without it being so horrifying and miserable and overwhelming. And I promise I am not trying to leave you guys on a cliffhanger, but how to take care of it is a really big topic, and I want to make sure that I can address that with you guys fully. So that is going to be my next video. But basically, I want you guys to be able to say, hey, am I on an actual plateau where things are just slowing down? Or is my weight loss something that I'm causing to plateau with outside factors, like stacking, basically? So what the heck do you do? If you are realizing that things are not quite right, there's a couple things that you can kind of check yourself with. One, mental health. And I say this first because it is literally the most important thing. If your mental health is a crap fest, it is a whole lot harder to actually focus on things like eating appropriately if you feel like you're just drowning in the rest of your life. So please, 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 please get therapy. If you don't believe in therapy, I really want you to believe in therapy, but if you don't believe in therapy, find some family, find some friends, anybody who you can talk to about whatever it is that's going on in your life. Make sure that you have someone who you can basically vent it, let it out to, and try to start feeling better about whatever it is that's going on. Do what works for you as long as it's a healthy behavior to address your mental health, because you can't focus on changing your life if you're drowning in it. Also, sleep is a huge, huge factor. Your body needs that time to kind of recoup and re-energize and get going again. If you are consistently not getting enough sleep, it is gonna be so much harder for you to make good choices with food. Because any day where I'm exhausted, my impulse control is gone. So the second I see something that is like lusciously delicious and sugary, I'm like, that's in my mouth. I don't even know what it is. It's already in my mouth. I didn't have time to think about it. Because when I'm rested, my impulse control is a lot more, existent. And I can pause for a second and be like, hey, that does look really epic. But is this my day to splurge? Or maybe I need to eat a little bit healthier today, depending on what's going on in your life. Like, this isn't your cheat meal. This is just any old day. Maybe you can have that another time, but right now it's not the right time. Or I already had breakfast. Maybe I don't need that pastry. That control over your impulses is so much lower when you are sleep deprived. So if you have a way to get more sleep, take it. It's needed. And then the last one, this is kind of a smaller one, but take some time to check yourself on your portion sizes. Whatever diet you're having, look at your plate and go, hey, is this enough to get me full? Am I still gonna be hungry? Or am I gonna be so stuffed you're gonna have to roll me out of this room with a new pair of pants with a lot of elastic? Like, take some time to gauge that. It's important. Also, backtracking to the topic of mental health for a second. If you have any idea what it is that triggers you to eat, maybe take a second and say, hey, has whatever that thing is, has that been in my life a lot more lately? Is there something I can do about that? In my case, there's not. Short of dropping out of school, and I'm like $85,000 in debt. I have no desire to have that and then no degree. So no. And I know it's gonna be worth it in the long run, or at least that's what I tell myself on the days where I am really struggling with it. But I'm in school for a reason. That's not something I can leave. But it is definitely my trigger for extreme stress and really unhealthy habits, which we'll get into in a later video, but I can't necessarily do away with that. So what happens if you have a trigger you can't do away with? You find little ways to work around it. For me, that means I'm in counseling once a week. At the very least, I can vent about everything that I need to vent about in a safe space. And when you have a lot of stress, venting is super important. It also helps you to build some healthier behaviors for how to cope with it. But whatever it is, find out what your trigger is, take a couple seconds a day to address it. Make sure that that trigger isn't causing you to just veer off and kind of go down a rabbit hole with your diet. Lastly, be realistic. You might be stressing yourself out a bit excessively because your goals have been a little bit too lofty. Like, for example, yes, I need to lose 100 pounds really to be even close to a healthy weight range. That does not mean I need to focus on specifically the 100 pounds now. My goal right now is literally just to get under 215 because that's been like my goal point for the last 6 months and it's driving me crazy. Which is also something I wanted to address because I know this is kind of a weight loss / loving yourself, body positivity in the healthy way kind of channel. And you guys are not necessarily seeing videos or going to be seeing videos in the next few weeks where it's like, hey, I just dropped 5 pounds this week. That's not where I am in this journey, but I still want to document the entire thing because for me getting healthier mentally and emotionally is what is going to help me to get healthier physically. And I want to be able to address all of that with you guys because the truth is weight loss and getting healthy is not just a matter of what's on the scale. So I want to address all of it with you guys all along the way. But I know this video was kind of all over the place because I had a lot to say and a lot of feline interruptions. Say hi. She doesn't care. She's like, pet me. But I know I had a lot of interruptions and this video was kind of all over the place. I'm just trying to kind of collect my thoughts on the topic of weight loss plateaus. But I hope you guys got something out of it, maybe something helpful, and at the very least, I hope it helps you to know that if you are trying to lose weight right now and you're just struggling with it, for whatever the reason is that you're not losing, you're still not alone. This is a process. It is not immediate. It's okay to keep trying. It's okay to be a little frustrated along the way. The main thing is don't stop trying. If your physical health is kind of at a standstill, stop for a second and say, hey, how's my spiritual health? How's my mental health? How's my emotional health? Am I freaking sleeping? Because man, we need that. Like, take a step back. Give yourself some grace and know that it's gonna be okay. You're not alone. We're in this together. I'm struggling right along with you. I'm just doing it for the public to see, I guess. But we're gonna get through this together, whether it's at the same time or different times. I'm gonna cheer you guys on every step of the way. If you're in the middle of a weight loss journey or getting healthy journey of any variety, I would love to know more about it in the comments so I can cheer you on as well. But just know, you are not alone. We can do this, and because I haven't said it on this channel in a while, I want to remind you guys, you do not have to wait until you are at your goal weight to love your body. It is 100% okay to try to be healthy and to love yourself every single step of the way. Not just when that scale says whatever you want it to. Because I'll keep scratching your head, dear. So, if you guys enjoyed this video, rambly as it was, please make sure to like it down below and to subscribe. I would really love to grow my channel and hear from more of you guys about what you're doing in your lives and how you're trying to be healthy. So, if I can manage to get my life together and get that next video out by next Friday, I'll see you then. But otherwise, I will see you at some Friday in the very near future. Bye-bye. Hey, quit looking plastic. Yes, you. And things you need to change along the way. Hey, 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 do not bite your sister.